So, after hitting 100 subs on YouTube, I wanted to start making more videos. I do a lot of shorts. That's where a lot of you guys have come from, the majority of you. And I've put out a couple of videos once or twice. They weren't really too serious. But now that I'm up to 100, I want to continuously, maybe like once a week, put out a new painting video. So tonight I recorded one. I have completed my first, oh god, you can't see that, can you? You'll see it in the video. I completed my first Age of Sigmar clan rat. I've never really done a clan rat before. The closest thing was I've done the Reaper Mini were rats, which are very similar. They're not as good. I mean, Reaper Minis versus Games Workshop, I'm sure you already know, massive difference. But yeah, let's get into the video. So the first thing I want to do is I want to prime the mini, and my favorite go-to now is Stynel Res. It's like they say on the bottle, the perfect prime every time, and it's nice and matte. It's got good coverage. I'm gonna do about 2 coats of this through the airbrush, and then I'm gonna go over it with a light zenithal of a Stynel Res gray. Now that we got 2 coats of the Stynel Res black, we're going to do that light zenithal of the gray. Hit it from the top, like a 45, anywhere between 45 and 60 degree angle. That way you catch all the top areas. I'm sure you guys have seen plenty of painting videos before, so I'm sure you know what I'm talking about here. Just easy stuff, just pure highlights. Now, me being the absolute buffoon I am, I forgot to do any weathering. I like to do some weathering first, so I should normally do this before the primer, but I'm going to use this Vallejo corrosion on the bottom of the cloths, and like the bottom of his cape, the bottom of his shield, and what it's going to do is it's going to add a layer of like crud and mud towards the things that are, right up next to the ground, things that would hit the dirt or mud or drag behind him. These guys are skaven clan rats. They're filthy, they're gross. So this just kind of adds that layer. So what I do is I put this corrosion on first. It's nice and thin. It's got like a little sand texture to it. Now I'll go over it with some True Rust from Army Painter. It's a little bit thicker. I'm going to put this at the very, very bottom of that corrosion we just did. It's going to be a little bit thicker. It's going to be where, more of that mud and crud would build up. Keep in mind, you're supposed to do this before you prime the mini. So I'm going to go back over with some gray, completely ruin the zenithal, and that's my donkey brain shitting out. Speaking of doggy brain, I completely forgot to record the first couple of minutes of me putting down this base coat, but luckily I remembered that I wasn't recording. I started recording again. And this is me putting the initial layer down. Once we get this to about 2 coats and it's nice and got some really nice coverage, we'll start to highlight it a little bit more and more, layering it with lighter colors as we go on. With the base coat done, we'll start with our lighter colors, covering less surface area more and more. And what you see me dipping in there too is just some speed paint medium to thin out the paints so that we get a nice thin coverage. But like I said, we're going to start working our way through. I'm going to zoom in here so you guys can see it a little bit better. But I'm going to start working my way through the lighter colors. Not painting anything facing downward, really. Like the underneath of his cheek right there, we're going to leave alone. And we're just going to work up through the lighter colors, covering less and less surface area. Like right now, we're probably going to do about 75% of the surface, leaving all of the recesses and downward facing pieces of his skin. Now for one of the final highlights, I'm going to use this pale flesh from Vallejo. I'm going to mix it in. It's going to be one of our final highlights before we can move on to his garb. So now I'm going to use burnt red from Pro Acryl to do his cloak. This is going to be his base color. We will build off of this, but I really like this kind of desaturated red. It's very matte, and it will give us a good starting point to build some highlights later. Once the burnt red's out of the way, we'll go in with some ivory from Pro Acryl as well. It's a nice light yellowish white. It's kind of like eggshell, word to Christian Bale. And it's just a really nice color, especially with the enamel washes we're going to do later. The Goons Grime from Villainy Ink really pops on this ivory. I really like it a lot. It's one of my favorite colors, I'm not going to lie. And this is just going to be for his under cloak. He's wearing two, one on top of the other, and it'll be a nice little contrast to the red. Now that his cloaks are done, we're going to go in and do his fur with a smoke ink from Vallejo. I really like the smoke ink. It is kind of like a contrast paint, kind of like speed paint. It's probably the only ink that I used during this whole process. We're going to do his teeth with the ivory. Yet again, I love ivory for so many different things. And now we're going to do some highlights on the red cloak. I'm going to mix in some orange to that burnt red. And I'm going to just outline some highlights and then do a little wet blending to mix the two. A little stippling. I go out of frame a couple times here. I'm not used to where my camera is, but I really like how warm that orange makes that reddish cloak feel. And we just do it right at the hunch of his back and the tips of the little points where it's all torn and ripped. It really comes together really well, I think. I like it a lot. I ended up putting some of that ivory on his eyes, and I lied. I used a red ink to cover that ivory. The white underneath the transparent red really makes his eyes pop. Really makes him stand out a good amount. Now we're going to hit the shield with mahogany from Pro Acryl. It's a really nice, warm, dark brown. Great for any kind of wood. I mean, it's called mahogany. It's in the name. We're going to use it on the shield, and we're going to use it on his little club. And you can see my inexperience with me going out of frame back and forth. I got to get used to that. After his eyes dry, I go over it with a nice fire orange. I just put a dot in the middle. It really makes the eyes stand out a decent amount. And here again, I'm using the ivory on the insignia on his shield. I'm going to go over it with that transparent red, kind of make it pop. While that's drying, I go in with a warm brown from Pro Acryl, and I start striking some lines on the wood to add texture. I use the warm brown, and then I go over it lightly with a caramel brown, using a layering technique as you would with any kind of base color, except I'm just striking multiple times at the wood. I do it to his club as well. Really adds some nice detail and texture to the model. And now we're going to go over that insignia and get that painted up. Then with the ivory again for his hand wraps. Once I hit it with the Goon's Grime, after for a unifying wash, it will really give that a nice color. And I use the warm brown for some of the leather, like his belt and some of the straps that he's got on him. Now with all the base coats done, we're going to pull out the villainy ink. I'm going to mix 1 part Goon's Grime with 1 part, I think it's Ichor of the Damned. Yep. I absolutely love these inks. I love working with them. I'm still learning how to use them. So we're going to get a really dirty brush. We're going to thin it down with some mineral spirits so that it acts like a wash. And we're going to cover the entire model. And it's going to really make them look dirty and nasty and just filthy, like a dirty little rat human thing. Love this stuff. And there we have it. My first ever clan rat is done. Now I know there's things I can improve on and different color schemes I kind of want to try out. I'm going to be doing a dark, like olive green kind of scheme instead of the burnt red. We'll see how that works out. But I got about, I dropped it there. I got about 20 more to go. Now off screen, I did a little bit more grime, and I added the fake hair, which really makes him look disgusting. But this is him. This is the end. Thanks for watching.